Well, we are to the electrical part of this restoration, and we're going to kind of see if we can get this timer working. We're going to check the outlet, and we're also going to verify that the panel light switch does in fact work. To do this, you do need a voltage tester. I'm going to show you guys how I do it. So this is my trusty Fluke. If you guys want to buy one of these, I'll put a link in the description. This is probably one of the best general use multimeters that you could ever get. This one has a auto voltage, which is the low Z function. Basically, this means this is a loading voltage tester. And the difference between the low Z and the regular voltage tester is that this one will actually test for like actual current. This is kind of a weird electrical thing. Sometimes you have a bad connection and you'll show the voltage, but you actually won't have any power, if that makes any sense. This usually happens when you have like a burnt connection or something where there's just enough connection to show the voltage, but there's actually not enough power to run anything. Now, we call that ghost voltage in the appliance repair industry. And this low Z function not only tests for voltage, but it actually tests for real power. So when we get a reading on this, then we know for a fact that we have good power. So I did plug it in to a power strip. The first thing we're going to do is check the power, 120 volts, so we know the outlet is fully functional. Now, another thing to check is to make sure that the hot is on the right prong. The smaller prong is always the hot. We kind of want to test this against a ground. Let me see if I can find a ground somewhere. Perfect. So we have our hot on the, where it needs to be, rather. And that just verifies that our polarity is correct. Now, one weird thing that I did notice about this particular clock, it turned out I guessed right that the hot was in fact the hot. But the weird thing is this switch interrupts the neutral, which means that the hot for the lamp is like constant, if that makes any sense. And generally speaking with electrical, you always want to interrupt the hot and not the neutral. So I don't know if this was a wiring error originally from the factory. Maybe somebody was tampering with it in the past. We're definitely going to correct that. So just to fix that, I'm going to take this wire, I'm going to transfer it over to the hot lead, and then I'm going to get everything correct with the light. You always want to interrupt the hot. So that way, if you're changing the light bulb that is broken or something, you can complete the circuit because the hot is there, and then your hand will act as the neutral and you'll get electrocuted. So that's why it's really important to interrupt the hot. So you want the hot to stay here, so you want the light bulb socket to stay dead. We're going to get that all fixed up in a minute. The first thing I want to do is figure out why this clock really properly stuck. So we're going to dig a little deeper. Whenever you're taking anything electrical apart, you definitely want to unplug it. We're going to remove this screw first, and this is the bell. We're going to clean this bell up so it actually gets a nice tone to it again, and then we're going to see what's going on the inside. Oh, so this is totally mechanical movement. Okay, so I cannot get this knob off, and I'm not willing to risk breaking this glass. This is kind of one of the bummers because I really would have loved to clean facing and clean the knob in the sink, but it looks like I'm just going to have to kind of detail this part. The good news is by wiggling a little bit, I was able to free it up. I'm going to put a couple of drops of oil. When you're oiling one of these, you want to find all the pivots. And a pivot is basically like a little pivot. I don't know what to call it. It does seem like it's working, so any little bit of oil helps. Definitely you want to be clean when you're doing this. Give everything kind of a gentle wipe. Don't touch the movement because it's very fragile. We're going to let that run for a little bit, let all the oil soak through. I'm going to hit this on the wire wheel. Okay, so we got the bell cleaned up. Pretty cool. It says right here, it's the Lux Clock Manufacturing Company, Waterbury, Connecticut, USA. Now it should sound a little bit better. See? That sounds much better. Awesome. So assembly is going to be reverse of the disassembly, obviously. Let's see what it sounds like when it's done. That's cool. The good news is that everything is working. Bad news is I couldn't get the knob off, so we're just going to have to work with that. I'm going to do a little detail cleaning around the edges, but this is probably going to be the roughest looking spot of the stove. Without being able to take it apart, you just can't get into those little creases. But once we get this, I have to clean a couple of the little chrome pieces, and then we'll put the cooktop back together. Huh. Within 2 seconds. Not bad for 70-year-old technology.